if we wait until we talk, the right thing is coming out. We don't need to be worried that it's a dog. It's a dog. Okay. I was thinking just a few minutes before I started to make this video about God and how you know whether God exists or not. Or is it just nothing, you know, nothing except the cup and the coffee. Is there nothing? Where does our intelligence come from? And where do these words come from that I'm talking? And where did the dog come from when it barked? Why did it bark at this moment in time? These are all interesting questions which you could meditate upon for some time. And if you ask all of the great wise men of history, what is it that proves that God exists? And they will say, the signs in the universe. That God's presence on the planet is known through the signs that we see. And all of the atheists in the world will say, I don't see any signs, it's just cups. So you have to have had a certain amount of experience in life before God presents him or herself to you. And there's no need to prove the existence of God, because God is self-proving in every individual case. And so if you're not ready to know about God, you won't believe in God, you'll be an atheist. You'll be like a child. And the vast majority of people, when they die, this is the wisest point they ever get in their life. You know, they've been accumulating information and ripening information in their sleep and coming to more and more accurate awareness of the truth. Okay. Now, if you become more and more aware of the truth, what happens is the truth will set you free. And you can't do this, you can't set yourself free. All that can happen is, in a moment in time in your life, you can suddenly be free. And I'll tell you about my own experience with this, because I'm sure everyone's experience is different in many ways, but essentially the same. Because if we're misbehaving in the world, our eyes are covered. We cannot see the true reality in front of ourselves. We're seeing through the veil of ourself. And so the real universe is covered with this picture of ourselves. So all we're thinking about is ourself, really. Because if we didn't think about ourselves, if we thought about other things like the cup, we wouldn't be focusing on where the problem was. The problem is in ourselves. And as soon as the problem becomes in ourselves, our inner eye, if you like, is directed to ourselves. And the outside world becomes a dark and unfriendly place. And not pleasant. And so our attention is diverted to what's going on inside our own minds, because there's some kind of corruption in there, as we were talking about in this previous video, and this corruption needs to be removed. Now, most people spend their whole life with a corrupted brain. You know, it starts at school. People are woken up and said, you have to get up, little Johnny, and go to school. And little Johnny kind of gets dragged out of bed, sent to school. And then they wonder why they have these young children who have epileptic fits. You know, they're in class and the teacher ask him a question and say, stand up, little Johnny. And little Johnny's like, you know, he'd had 6 weeks of sleep deprivation. And he goes up and he puts his hand up and he stands there, he goes into some kind of epileptic trance. And the teacher thinks this is quite funny with the class. He says, come back Johnny, because he's done this a few times, you know, the children that are exposed to this kind of problem. And, you know, all the brain is doing is what it hasn't been allowed to do naturally, which is to sleep. And so it will sleep when it gets to a crisis point and it has to fix itself, then it will put the brain into like a suspended animation and do its process, and then it will wake up again. And it's interesting that these people who have this problem called epilepsy or whatever, they don't fall over because that wouldn't serve the universe or God in any way at all, because God's looking after our every need, if you like. So we need not to fall over, because that would be a bit silly, wouldn't we? So what happens is all the muscles tense, and little Johnny goes away with the fairies while his brain process corrects itself. This is quite obvious to anybody who just looks at what's going on. And is there any survey where they took these epileptic kids and said, just let them sleep as long as they like for a year and see if they get over their epilepsy? Well, you know, when you're a child you need more sleep than when you're an adult. And so most of these epileptic things go away after the age of 15 or 16, something like this. And so this is because the requirements for sleep is reduced. Now, I can't prove this, but it's more than likely an explanation. There has to be a reason for everything. And so if you see unusual things happening in the universe, there has to be a reason for them. And so that observation and looking at the signs in the universe, the things that look like could be coincidences but cannot be, they're just too profound, shows that there is a purpose and function behind everything that's going on in the world, and that this purpose and function, which you might call God, it's just like a computer really. The computer's running, it has certain rules in the program, and if you obey the rules of the program, everything goes fine. If you don't, then you have to be brought back into line. And the first thing is this putting the cloud over and focusing the attention on yourself so that you can fix what's wrong inside. And after that, after you fix that, therefore more truthful views of the universe can come out. And this is why the atheists who run like Wikipedia and things like that just cannot stand anything to do with truth at the highest level. They're okay with truths about coffee cups and, you know, what were the historical facts and things like that, in some cases. In other cases they want to change the historical facts because they don't agree with their narrative for political reasons. And it's interesting to see that this man who created Wikipedia, which is supposed to be a community, world community, freely giving of their wisdom into the world, is actually exactly the opposite of that. It's actually a cartel controlled by one man. And it's proven that this is what it is because this one man is regarded as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Now, why would this man be influential if it was truly a democratic system which everybody could freely contribute to? It isn't that at all, because in the end, if it doesn't agree with his reasoning, it doesn't fly, it doesn't float, the boat doesn't float. And so that's where he gets his influence from. I'm about to choke on my own vomit. I feel like getting sick. We'll take fire for a second. Okay, now wisdom is a study of truth, and the highest wisdom we have comes through the world religions. These are the highest forms of wisdom and highest understandings of the truth that man has ever achieved. And all of the religions, anybody who is wise understands that they're all talking about the same thing, and they're all using similar language, and if you read them all truthfully, you will find that they're all the same. Really, they're all the same. They have their own languages to a certain extent, but they're all the same. And that is that God himself incarnates into humanity to save humanity when it gets too corrupted. Okay, we're going back to this corruption idea. And they all have this common theme. And what happens is that all of them, even the indigenous cultures that are the same, and all of them become, their priesthood of the religions becomes fallen and becomes unable to understand the writings of the fathers of the religion, and therefore they interpret the words incorrectly and pervert the teachings and create fake books, fake interpretations of the writings of the original masters. So that's the state of affairs at the moment. See, it's a dog, there's a dog, it's a real dog, because there's nowhere you can go for the truth really. It just isn't available. And there's a song I wrote called Where's the Door? To everything important, where's the door? I'll play a bit of it for you.
Where is the door? Where is the door? Where is the door to everything important? Where is the door?
You know, I spent a great deal of time in my life for years, 10 years of writing songs, making artworks, writing poetry. And all this work was great artwork, if you like, designed to inform humanity of what I'd learned in my life, which I felt was very important. And I attempted, first of all, by trying to have art exhibitions organised, to try to get my work in front of the public. But the whole art world is so corrupt. It's just not possible. You can't find anybody interested in real art. And so I quickly gave up on that. And the accumulated works is like sky high. I even have books in Bromley out here that are just chucked in the cupboard. Work that I've done, that I've created, and nothing can be done with it. And so, where's the door? There's no door to knock on. There's no place you can say, look, I have all this important wisdom, take it, look after it. There's no place on the planet that you can do this with. You know, the last guy, what was his name? Heraclitus. Heraclitus, he wrote his fragments of Heraclitus, and he took them and deposited them at the library, Alexandria, Delphi, I don't know where he put them, but in Greece I think, and he just deposited them at the library and walked away. That was the purpose and function of the libraries, was to take the written works of the philosophers and look after them. The philosopher's job was to produce the writing. And it's the same with me. I have nowhere to deposit it, except, as you saw where the camera ended, on the internet symbol, the modem, go to the internet. The only place to put it is on the internet. And so I have made some videos and placed them on the internet, mainly on Rumble. And you can find them on Rumble, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, at Adam of Bremen, one word, no spaces. And that should find you the channel they're placed on Rumble. And I don't normally put this kind of stuff on YouTube because I noticed that when I started to do this, my hit counts of video watching counts fell to 0 because there's a system. And I've noticed that my latest videos have kind of improved on the number of people who've managed to see them, probably because I didn't put up any stuff like this for some time, and maybe they stopped watching me or something like that. So to have this big brother is watching you thing over the heads of everything that everybody does is criminal, really, and I don't know what we do about it. I'd rather not use the internet at all. I'd rather not have to deal with YouTube. I'd rather not do this. But there doesn't seem to be any other way. Even the people at Speaker's Corner are calling out. I see in the latest video just uploaded that they want to see some other kind of speaker at Speaker's Corner. They're sick of all these Christian religious nutcases who go up there and just go blah 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 forever about some fake idea about religion. Yeah, and these people probably genuinely converted to this old religion, but they're far away from the modern truth. And the modern truth is what gets you completely in touch with reality. And you can see that the vast majority of these people are not happy people. They're not at one, if you like, with the universe. The first time I did this video, it got chopped off. And so I've done it again. And it's meant to be that way. And so you'll see now that the camera angle changes a little bit back to the original. Sorry about that. Now that was a long time ago, and pretty much I've given up trying to take my artwork to the public because it's just not on, it's not going to happen. And so what I've done is I've made a few videos, and hopefully something of what I've learned in my life will find its way into the hands of the children of the future. That is my hope. And there's no way that I could go onto Wikipedia and start putting what I know and adding it to the knowledge. It would just, I'd be thrown out in minutes. And so there's just no future in these centralized systems, as Wikipedia is a centralized system, not a distributed system at all. Any system where you have to log on, like Facebook, you just can't have this kind of system. It just makes the people who own it one of the 100 most influential peoples on the planet. And if you look at the names of everything, the names don't lie. Now, Wikipedia is called Wikipedia. Now, Wicca, with an A, this is witchcraft. And witchcraft is the putting forward of truth, putting forward of lies as truth. So when you tell a lie and you say it's a truth, this is witchcraft. And so slander was witchcraft, and also poisoning. These are the two kinds of witchcraft. One is killing the social body, and the other one is killing the physical body. And so that's what the definition of witchcraft was, and Wicca is witchcraft. Now Wicca with an A, what the A means in the universal language, because in Hebrew they didn't actually have any vowels. The vowels add a certain thing to the meaning of the word, and the vowel A adds the individual to it. So Wicca is one witch, and Wiki with an I in it means all witches gathered together, if you like, into the big coven. So it's a group witchcraft, and that's exactly what Wikipedia is really. Now I use Wikipedia all the time because if it's not controversial, it's a good source of information. But one needs to be able to see the truth to use Wiki properly, because as soon as it deviates from the truth, say, oh yeah, that's not that, and you just move on, move aside from it. And if you can see the truth, you can see the lie, and so it doesn't really matter, you know, if they're talking, saying it's the truth, you know it's a lie. And so you can add that part of what they're saying. It's still revealing the truth to you. You can say, oh, well, it's the opposite of that, because always the opposite of a lie is the truth. Yeah. This is interesting. I didn't think I was going to make a movie like this for YouTube, because there's a tendency to not put this kind of material on YouTube. Normally, the kind of material that I've put out like this, I put on Rumble, and I did a whole series of stuff on Rumble, and that is under the name of Adam of Bremen, one word. If you want to see the more controversial videos that I've made, then if you go onto Rumble and look under Adam of Bremen, there's very little usage of this, maybe only 2 views, this kind of thing. I don't regard it as something I want to promote. It's just it's there for the children of the future, so that hopefully Rumble, it will be hidden and preserved on Rumble together with all the other stuff, more also controversial, not really controversial stuff, but it's what the Wicca community regard as controversial, because for them the truth is lies and lies are truth. It's just the way it is. And with witchcraft, because the greatest witch of them all, Aleister Crowley, said on his deathbed, his dying words were, "I understood nothing." And on the deathbed of Jesus of Nazareth or whatever, I'm sure his words were the opposite, which is, "I understand everything." And that's the right way to go out. If you want to go out of life, you need to be going out saying, "I understand everything, and now I wait for the result of my life." The fruit of it, if you like. And you know, with a good tree, the fruit, if you make a mango, the good fruit mango is never wasted, it's always consumed. Yet there are some mangoes that shrivel up and die and drop off, and these are just simply recycled into the earth. So a fruit is actually used or it's rejected. And it's the same with humanity really. When you get to the end of your life, you either have produced fruit for humanity, in which case you as a fruit will be used after your death, or you understood nothing, you produced nothing, and all you did was perpetrate lies, and these people simply recycled into the earth. Now, that's my religion. So, better to be a fruit than some kind of shriveled up prune. Thank you for watching.
To everything important, there is the dawn. To hear our innocent flow, there is the dawn. To tell you the lie, there is the dawn. There is